Simple. Now I don't care to say that she wants to be. I'm not saying she want to be us. I would bring her on the live. I just want to come on here and say it. Like, I would bring her on the live. But based off of what I saw her talk about on her story, I don't really see much reason to bring her on the live. Because she was already on her story saying, look, I'm just saying that this was my experience with my stepfather and my mom. Okay. She said, I ain't really saying nothing against Malachi, da-da-da-da. I watch people, and she still cheated that line. But I listen to what she said. I'm like, I can't speak on her experience. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all don't know what this is. Everybody be trying to jump in some shit. Stop jumping your ass in some shit. Be quiet. You don't know what this is. She would be able to speak on something before you can. And niggas be trying to take up in arms. Why are y'all DMing her? Why are y'all sending her death threats? If that's what's taking place. Why are you saying anything to her? You don't know nothing about this. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Niggas don't have it. They don't have certain things understood. I have certain things understood. So right now, if I DM certain people, like even just, it's so interesting. Early this AM, Jacob York texted me. He was like, yo, I'm like, what's going on? He said, you ain't just drive past me, did you? I'm like, nigga, I ain't drove since 2022. Yeah, okay, cool. I thought it was you. Boom. I got on the phone with Jacob York. You don't know what this is. You don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what this whole situation is about and how long we done had to play this game. You don't know. So when she's speaking on stuff, listen to what she's saying in her story. Not just that podcast, because they think is they just so happy to run with a piece of content that people are paying attention to. They're called the Horrible Podcast. You think that's going to be great? All right, well then use your own brain there. My brain says the name says it all. You see? That's not going to be great. That's going to be a fade away. Eventually, they're going to have to do something else, like open up a burger shop. Right? The point is, they just happy to get a video off. When she realized they ran with that, she went to her story and was like, that's not really what I meant. They're just genius trying to make it get views, but this is what I really meant. I was saying my stepdad did this. I was saying my mom did this, and people took the information and ran with it in this. Da, 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 da. I get where she coming from because so many people do that. So I can't say she lying about that. I'm going to say to her, you lying. Your stepfather ain't do nothing. Your stepfather ain't do this. How I'm going to say that? You with me? So, I don't know. I don't know what y'all want me to do about it. All I'm going to tell you is stop acting like you know something about this and you don't. She would know more if she was there than you do, so stop acting like you know. Bring it to somebody who can speak on it. And even myself, I'm limited on certain things I can speak on. Sometimes I had to call her to answer. I'll be like, why y'all don't talk on certain things? I wasn't there for this. Where y'all at? Y'all need to be on here setting the record straight about this. Y'all know these people personally. I'm limited in what I can say. My literal journey in this starts at 3 years old. So I was limited in what I could do and say at that point. All I could do was get older, learn more vocabulary and how to express. But I was always paying attention. So I don't know some of the stuff she talking about. I'm like, that ain't us. But her experience that she's saying might be with her stepdad and them. Okay, well, I can't take that from her. I don't know what that is. I don't want to take it from her. Because she's telling the truth. She's telling the truth. And the truth is, there's a lot of fucked up New Orleans. This is what it is. There's a lot of people fucked up in the head. I don't know why. Maybe we were infiltrated. Or maybe they're just black devils. It's that simple. They did messed up stuff. And they'll come out here and they sound great. They sound like they with the doctrine and all this other stuff. Behind the scenes, they're dirty. That's not all of the... I know that it's not all the family. Because I can vouch for myself. But that don't mean that it's not a lot of these people that's still around. And they'll put it on. He said they'll put the roll on. They'll put it on. These people walking around with the Ankh tweeds on. Or the Unks. They walk around with the Nummels. Right? They walking around with the all black. The Masonic emblem with the Ankh in the middle. Some of them still got that. All that. You know what I'm saying? Or the G for us and the sun around it, whatever it is, they still pushing that, right? But behind the scenes, they not right. It's a lot of them. So I don't know if her father is or stepfather is one of those people. He could be. And maybe he pushed it too hard because in the Black Devils book, you could turn your children into black devils. If you're not living righteous yourself, you can lead them to be, because all they're going to observe is hypocrisy. And next thing you know, you tell them this, and you doing it out of just you trying to project. And next thing you know, they done ran away from home. or they're going to start sleeping around at 15, 16 years old. That's why I say around that age, people lose their soul. They go out there into the world. And what we were taught about that 7 years old stuff is by the time you hit 7, not just that the Most High ain't going to forgive you for stuff you do. That's not what we taught. When you hit age 7, that's when you start really molding into who you are. That's your most impressionable time periods. It's from your point of birth up to your point of being 7 years old, and then you're blending that out. By the time you're 16, that's why most people have that rebellion age, right? Their parents done told them, stop doing this, stop doing that. Their parents done shifted the focus from paying attention to who that child is. You see what I'm saying? And because that focus has been shifted, now the child don't feel like anybody sees them. You see? So I can't be mad at the child for what they chose to do. Because in all actuality, she could have been one of the children who was supposed to be embraced and protected. She could be one of the indigo children. She could be one of the 144,000 that he was talking about. But somebody in her family fucked it up or abused her or this or that. That you can't take that from her if that's what it is. Because then I look at people's lifestyle. When you're into all the like piercing and makeup and all the other stuff, all that rock style shit, and I know something happened in life. You know what I mean? Because that's just the mode of it. I know something happened. Because how you get out here like that? You with me? To where it's like it don't even match your being. So, yeah, as much as I really just say about it, I can't really get into her personal life. I don't know her. I know what I see. But when it comes to Malachi, the things she was saying we were taught as a whole, no, we weren't. Now, we were taught about these things, but we weren't taught to believe any of this stuff. And I keep saying, if we were, why I don't believe it? And I could pull up a million times. I had to make a compilation of all the time he said, don't believe me. Don't believe what I say. He even got scriptures in parts of the books where he say, I told y'all don't believe it. You still believe in this stuff. Well, you supposed to be just learning it. He was like, you do believe. Everybody said we don't believe. But, okay, when I told you about the Anunnaki, and you talking about the Anunnaki, like you know who that is. He said, you had to believe me. You didn't know who that was. I'm like, exactly. Exactly. Grow up. Admit it. You don't know. Admit it. So then you get to weed out the noise. Omari, Faise, how is anybody talking about Malachi and they weren't there? Answer, because they believe. And most of them want to believe that he's guilty because it makes it easier for them. I mean, that's just how this goes. Is that clear? All right, so the story just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. Here's what I can say, because there's a lot of stuff I want to be able to say. Some stuff I won't be able to say right now because it just ain't time, and you'll see it. Right? Here's what I can say. Different people have different pathways that we have to take when we come through here. All right? The lust fucked a lot of us up. We were introduced to lust and not protected from it. Why? Because our parents was too busy being righteous. What do I mean by that? Meaning they weren't really being righteous. Because the righteous aspect was keeping the children in mind. Protecting us from being exposed to this. And a lot of parents really did their best. The best that they accepted. Because they could have done better. Anybody could have done better. And it's easy for us to say our parents could have done better. They were children too. And their parents didn't have the ability to protect them or know how to protect them. You see? So a lot of things became social norms. When stuff was happening to children, our community, not Nubians, the melanin dominant community. Now, we ain't the only ones. But the melanin dominant community you call black people will let something happen to a woman or let something happen to a child and say nothing. You know this man did this or you know this woman did this. And you'll be like, well, that's family. We're going to keep it in the family. Keep what in the family? Then that became generational curses where them people grew up and they were fucked up in the head and became sexual deviants to the degree of abuse because they were abused. You see? Now, that's not to validate their abuse for what they did or not to justify it. It's just to say that y'all know that that's the cycle of psychological trauma that y'all are calling generational curses in some aspects. That's what took place, that people were harmed, were not protected. And then they grew up to harm others and children. And those children were harmed in different ways. If you knew your child was smoking and you want to be the cool parent and you don't want to be the parent that got to deal with telling your child that's not it, and you let it happen, you aided them in their destruction. That's the truth. You knew your child was drinking alcohol and you didn't stop and say, listen, you don't need to be drinking this stuff. Here, get on this, do this, da-da-da-da-da. And you aided and abetted them, right? Or you contributed to the delinquency of a minor is what they call it in the law. Or legalese. Okay, well then you led them and you aided and enabled the destruction. You knew your child was having sex and was like, look, you can do what you want to do. Just talk to me about it. I want to know if you're having sex or not. Instead of telling them, listen, young, this is why you need to make sure that you don't jump out into the sex world. That's what my parent did for me. This is why you make sure you don't do this, because we fucked up. My mama told me that the adults was fucked up. She said, we fucked up because we can't see past lust and sexuality and we all in the water. So we ain't going to be able to do what we would have been able to do if we didn't get fucked up. So you need to make sure, she said, nigga, just make sure that if you're going to smoke weed, if you're going to do any of this stuff, graduate high school first. Let your brain finish developing at least enough for you to be able to make your own decisions. Da, da, da. And I'm sitting here, listen, I study. So you think that when my mama talking, I'm not listening? I'm listening to what she's saying. And I'm watching people around me. I'm watching my friends lose their soul. They can't focus on nothing because they're too busy focused on. I'm with my peoples. I was with my brother, right? And my cousin. I love my cousin. I love my brother. My brother just transitioned. I love my cousin, right? So we all over my dad's house. And we vibing. Me and my brother Hassan, right? And my cousin Adania. And we vibing. And my brother Hassan, you know, he really into the doctrine, even with all the stuff he went through with his family and my dad, you know what I'm saying? All of that, you know, this personal family stuff that he went through. He still held on to love is the key, because that's what my dad would always yell to him. Love is the key. And I remember my brother telling me about it, which I'm not going to speak too much on certain things right now because I know the family going through stuff. And I'm not in any way, shape, form, or fashion willing to add insult to injury. You know what I'm saying? Or to make things worse about what we already having to deal with in the family that my brother is gone. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to talk too much about the trauma he endured. What I will say is with all of that, he loves the master. He loves Nuwapu, and he loves family, right? So we over there. I'm at my dad's house. I'm 12 years old. And my brother out of nowhere, he get to breathing. He started doing the Amon meditation. It's not even on. He's just doing it. And we talking, we building, and we all get to doing it. Me, my brother, and another brother was over there, Elijah. He did it for a while too. And my other brother, or my cousin, Adamir, he got on the phone. He was talking to a female. I love my cousin. But he was talking to a female, and my cousin was, my brother was trying to get my cousin to join in on the meditation. My cousin was like, man, nigga, I'm trying to figure out what his female at. And I still love him, you know, for life. That's just what was going on. And I watched that and I was paying attention. And then he wound up leaving out of the room. And my brother looked over to me. He was like, sex turns you disagreeable. I was like, huh? He's like, you still a virgin, right, Omari? I'm like, yeah. I was like confused that he would ask me that because everybody supposed to know. I was a virgin until I was 20. So at 12, he asked me, you still a virgin, right, Omari? I'm like, right. He's like, sex turns you disagreeable. He said, stay a virgin. That was my older brother speaking to me. He didn't have to tell me that because my mom had already talked. But anytime he talked to me, went all through school, he would say, you still a virgin, right? He like, don't let these women get you. He said, it'll turn you disagreeable. My brother put me on game about a lot of this stuff too. But the point is, we weren't protected. A lot of us, most of us weren't protected, you know, and there were people around saying, man, let her do what she want to do. Da-da-da-da. Stop trying to control her. She's a young lady. She got to get out there. She got to experience. Those were devils. We didn't know they were devils. A lot of us didn't know they were devils. And a lot of women brought men around their children, and we can't blame the women. the women didn't know that this man is a predator. You see what I'm saying? But you bringing this man around your children. She don't know that. She in love. She's experiencing the serotonin release, the dopamine release. You know what I'm saying? She experiencing all the chemical oxytocin, right? She getting the hugs. He not showing who he is, right? It don't happen until you going on a trip and you think she good because this 16-year-old girl see this man like her father. And this is real life. This 16-year-old girl see this man like her father. You go, and now this girl has been assaulted. And what else? He killed her. And this was all over the news 2-3 years ago. Right? Big, all over the news. 16-year-old girl was assaulted and then murdered. And then he killed himself. When the police got there, he killed himself. You see? But the mother has to deal with that. And it's like, okay, she didn't know. We ain't even taught the signs. You know, that's something that's new. People speak about it now new. Like, this is how you could tell whether or not somebody is interested in children. These are some of the signs to look out for, right? And even that is like a teetering edge because you don't want to falsely convict somebody and they just love the youth. But then you really do need to be still. I don't care. Even if you think they love the youth, you need to be cautious. Because once the innocence of a child is gone, it's gone. This is something that Dr. Melikazi York taught. Once the innocence of a child is gone, it's gone. He wasn't even just talking about it in the abuse. And I want to make a statement for everybody that's listening here. If this is personal to anybody, I just want to send love to you. And I want you to know I'm not insensitive, right? I'm not desensitized. And I feel for you and what you have encountered or what you may have gone through. I don't have the entire crash course or the degree on what will be triggering or not. So I don't want you to take my expressing about these things as I'm not aware that some of these things could be triggering if they're personal to you. So I just want to acknowledge you to let you know I haven't gone through these things myself. So I'm only talking about it from the angle in which my experience is, which is experiencing that other people experienced it. I just want you to know that I'm still with you and I love you and I see what you've gone through. I'm not where you are. So I don't know what, not necessarily not to speak on, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what way to present certain ideas yet. I have to have more conversation with people because when I was younger, I would talk about abortion and stuff like that. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was being self-righteous. You see what I'm saying? And I was attacking women, not knowing that I was attacking women. I was just saying, man, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this life, but I wasn't thinking about how many women have gone through it and they keep it quiet. I didn't know that. I didn't know how many women have gone to a clinic and don't tell nobody. I didn't know how many women have gone through any of this stuff. And the thing is, they want to stop this from happening, right? Because they don't feel supported by the community or this, that, and not all women are just letting it all hang out and and going all about it however they want to go about it. You see what I'm saying? Some women, they was in situations. And that's between them and them. But I was just saying, because of that, I wanted to take that time to let y'all know, don't think I'm insensitive. I just know what I know, and it's the only way I know to express until I learn more about it. The point is, y'all were supposed to be protected. That's the truth, right? I done had family come to me and tell me this didn't happen, this didn't happen, this didn't happen. I said, listen, you saying all this, right? I want to let you know what you're saying. This happened to you, right? This is not your fault. This happened to you. This is what they did. They weren't supposed to do that. It's what they did. So don't feel that something is wrong with you or, you know what I mean? No, this happened to you and it wasn't supposed to happen to you. And it's on us. We were supposed to have a system in order to be able to protect our children from that. That's the reality. That's the truth that nobody can deny. Because why, Omari? Because these children have grown up, you know, like children do. And they're the ones running around in the world. About 80% of the women in the hood have been abused. About 80%, if not more. And they don't talk about it because they suppressed it. You see, it's like that's a trauma response. Suppression is one of them. Choosing to allow, not that you forget about it necessarily, it's just that you allow yourself to become so busy and distracted with other things, you don't even realize that that's what took place anymore, or that that's why you're doing it. I was in school, and I'd be talking, and because I talked to the girls, you see what I'm saying, while I'm in school, I wasn't trying to sleep with them. They would tell me all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I had a friend of mine, I ain't gonna say her name, I don't know if she would want that said. But I had a friend of mine, and we talking, we in class, we in, what was it, world history. And we talking. And she get to talking about how niggas is crazy. And we talking, we laughing, da-da-da-da, but then it got serious. When she was talking about somebody that her mom let stay over, right? And she was telling her mom that she ain't want him to stay. And her mom was like, girl, it's cool. He can stay over here, da-da-da-da, whoop-whoop. Cause her mom thinking that this dude is her friend. Her mom leave out. The dude, he pop a perk and he get off the perk. Next thing you know, he assault her. Right? And I'm talking to her about it, and she was like, I didn't want to do nothing because he crazy. I ain't want him to kill me, do da-da-da-da, whoop-de-whoop. So it just happened. And I'm like, yo, and it fucked me up for the rest of the class. And she was trying to reassure me that she was good. And in my mind, my heart, I'm like, this ain't right. You with me? And you don't really, and you have to understand, some of us have to go back to when we were children, how you would feel about certain things. If you saw an adult crying, you wanted to cry. Remember that? Or how you cared about people and cared about animals. If the animal was hungry, you wanted to feed it as opposed to kick it and say, get the fuck on. Remember that? Some of y'all got to go back to when you was a child and remember that at one point we was all about love. Then we were introduced to something and it killed that. We suffered because of that. So like I said, lust destroyed a lot of those of you who are chosen. And if it were not brought to you prior to now, that's a problem, I really don't know what to say, because in these days, if you don't know, lust is destroying the soul. What can I tell you? The lust destroyed the soul, right? Pornography destroyed life in the communities. How we see people, each other, the things we think about. And all this was Dr. Malachi York's teaching. I learned all of this from Dr. York when I was a child. I was reading the books. He was showing about how they had all the stuff people be talking about now, the CP, all that. They had tapes and stuff that they had on the internet and child this and da-da-da-da, and sites that people were going to, da-da-da-da, and people getting jammed up and whoop-de-whoop and big cases and all of that. And he was telling us about it. He said, look at the programs they running. Look at how the names say something about devil this and Satan this and Beelzebub this and Prince of Darkness this. Look at how they programs or these cyber programs are reflecting devil names. And it's all about doing stuff to children. It's perversion. And I'm reading this stuff as a child, knowing about it. That's why I didn't know that you could access pornography on the internet until I got into 10th grade. But I didn't know all my peers from age 6 and 7 years old knew. I didn't know that's what they were doing. When I had my phone, literally when I get like a little flip phone or the first phones they could hook up to some type of internet or connection, I was on YouTube watching educational stuff or listening to pops or recording myself trying to get used to using a camera and da-da-da-da, whoop-de-whoop. I didn't know people that when they were on the phone at night, they were watching pornography. I didn't know nothing about it until 10th grade when somebody said, yo, you know you could just go on the internet. What you mean just go on the internet? You got to pay for that stuff, right? I thought you had to pay for that type of stuff. My mind was still on when I walked into my uncle's room, right? Back when I was like 12 years old and even younger. When I walked into my uncle's room, I didn't know, like I remember being like 7, 8, 9 years old. I walked into his room. You really couldn't go in my uncle's room. But I walked into his room and all I saw was porn DVDs. But I didn't know that that's what it was. I saw stuff that is like the imagery without being too damn, but I don't care. I got to tell you what it is. Because if ain't nobody going to tell, everybody want to be so censored. Well, what we going to know what the issues is. So I got to tell you like it is, like I always done, right? So I'm seeing stuff that don't make sense. It's girls that don't got no clothes on, so I'm looking for something that makes sense because I'm not used to these images. I don't even know what this means. But then they talking about something candy on a stick, and I'm like, where's the candy? I see this pink looking toy, but I don't see no candy. I'm looking at stuff like, maybe that's the candy? I'm like, I don't understand this stuff. I see women with snot coming out their nose and da-da-da-da. I'm like, why is she messy like that? Like, y'all think I'm playing, but I'm looking like, why is her nose like, why is her face messy? Why is she snotting? And that's nasty. You see what I'm saying? I just didn't know. I didn't know that this is pornography. I was like, okay, this is weird. That's all I knew. That whatever this was, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be seeing this. But did my uncle protect me from that? No, because his room door was unlocked and all that stuff was all over the floor. And a lot of us was exposed to pornography from our family. So I was exposed to pornography from family members. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't know what it was. Like if I get my stepfather phone, it's because I want to do stuff with the phone that I know how to do, like take photos. What I would do is I'd take a photo of a toy of mine and then move the toy. And then take the photo again, then move it again. Take the photo again, then move it again. I was making stop motion. So I would ask or I'd play a game. Like, remember the little games with the little bricks and the little pinball and you got to stop it from hitting the ground, all this other stuff, whatever it was. Remember them type of games? Or Pac-Man, all this other stuff, on the little flip phones and them. Y'all remember the old phone, the Blackberries. So I would ask if I could play games on the phone. Remember you go to the games and there was games on the phone. But then I'd be curious. And I'd hit photos. But then the stuff I see be like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what this is because we weren't protected from that. The child is curious. I'm 5, I'm 6, I'm 7. I'm curious about what this is. Oh, what's this thing? Let's see if it's something fun over here. Ain't nothing fun over here. Now I'm seeing something that is perverting my mind. I don't even know what this is. Is that his fault? I'm not going to say it's his fault. Was it his responsibility to protect me? Yes. Because I was a minor. It's the responsibility of the adults to protect us, whether they overstood how or not, is still the truth. So if they didn't, okay, they just didn't. You see that? So when I saw the porn on the floor, I didn't know what it was, right? When I got older, which would have been what, like 7 years later, 8 years later, I'm 16, 17 in high school, somebody introduced it to me. Then I went and saw it for myself. And that, I never developed a porn addiction. That wasn't my thing. However, it came in the form of being able to escape through ejaculation and masturbation. Nobody said, listen, people was telling us, especially the elder dudes in our community, they were like, man, everybody do that. I didn't even know how to do that until 2019. None of your business, but I'll tell you that that's because I wasn't in that world. I didn't even know how to do that. You see what I'm saying? So I saw stuff and it became a situation where it's like, oh, this is interesting to explore. Well, that's how they got a lot of us. We started exploring. Pleasure to make one wise. Good and evil. You'll realize you naked. Shame. When people, after they ejaculate or after they orgasm, now they feel like, I don't need to be doing this. Now, that's with pornography. Let's not forget that people go through that when they're dealing with somebody that they just having casual sex with. After it's done, they feel like, man, right? But while they enduring it, they're enjoying it. So then their brain tricks them to make them think that that's what they need, even though the logic kick in later and say, listen, you were operating literally in your primal or primitive self, right? Because you were operating there, you shut me down. Who are you? I'm your frontal lobe. I'm your conscience telling you, stop. Think about that. I'm the guiding voice that is you on the other end of the threshold, waiting to see whatever path you're going to take ultimately. But I can't make you make the decisions. I'm your guardian. We're your guardians. Hey, stop. We talk to you by accessing your frontal lobe. But when you're taking the drugs and indulging in all this other stuff, that part shuts down. You can't hear the voice of God. Remember I told you, because nobody else told you. Remember I told you, those who heard me, what's addiction? Or addiction, the prefix a means to go against. And diction is speaking of words. The diction word going to the word of God. The word of God is written in your essence. We know right from wrong. Naturally we do. So when we're on drugs, which is what they want the whole world on drugs, right? When we're on drugs, we're going against our essence. And we feel it, which is why a lot of people want to kick the drug or get it away from them. A lot of people want to go through rehabilitation. They want to get better, but they're suffering. And it's not easy because once the drug is gone, now you have to deal with whatever it is that you were using the drug for. So you don't stop masturbating, but you don't realize the reason you started, right, was back when you was 13, 14, 15 years old because somebody introduced it to you. Then it became a habit, and that habit got locked in to suppress trauma or deal with stress and cortisol and all of that stuff. So now it's like your body's saying, wait, what happened? We need this. Now you're stressing. And it just feels better or easier for you to let go and relapse. A lot of people relapse. Meaning, what does relapse mean? Right? When you run in laps, you run in a circle. To relapse means to enter back into that cycle. To go back to running them laps. Stuck in a loop. And people are fighting right now. Most people, if not everybody on this live, is struggling with vices. That's those who are attempting to break the spell. Some people ain't trying. But they don't know why. They don't know why. Why are you attempting to break the spell? Because you're being called home. And they can't communicate with you when you out of alignment. You got to save your generations. So, were we supposed to protect the children? Yes. Are we supposed to protect the children? Yes. Were the men supposed to protect the women? Yes. And for the mothers, were they supposed to protect the men, the young boys? Yes. You supposed to protect the young boy from that lady who came around calling your son her boyfriend. Yeah. Everybody thought it was cute. Nobody was like, that's weird. Until you flip the roles around. And here come a man calling your little 3-year-old girl his girlfriend. Where my girlfriend at? Where my wife at? But then let's flip the roles back around and see how they fucked us up out here in the community, where a lady come in, she grown as hell. Here come your 3-year-old toddler son. Where my boyfriend at? Where my husband at? What? You see? So it was the women, too, that we needed to be protected from. Some of the women needed to be, some of the young women or the young ladies need to be protected from the women. Some of the young boys needed to be protected from the men. All the people fucked up out here because of it. And it's so widespread that it's like, the fact that ain't nobody talking about it, that's a part of it. That's a part of it. You with me? So you really can't determine what becomes of somebody if somebody does something to them. You really can't determine that. Now look, all these women getting bashed, right? Because of their sexuality, or whether they hypersexual or they didn't have multiple, okay, let's date back. What happened to them prior to this? Did something happen to them? Were they exposed to pornography at a young age? Were they exposed to sex? Where when the mother and the father were interacting, were they quiet or were they making noise? Because the children would stand by the door and listen. When people were playing mommy and daddy, you want to know why that's a thing? Children don't inherently know what sex is. If your children were playing mama and dad, it's because they heard you or saw you. Children will open up the door to see, what's this noise? And because you ain't paying attention, you don't know your child sitting there watching you. So they like, let's play mommy and dad. They brought it to the other child. The other child didn't know that. Don't this sound familiar? So Eve bites the fruit. She get exposed to sensuality, and goes to offer it to Adam. Because she was exposed to it through Nakash. So imagine how many people was in the community who was our serpent, our Nakash. Those same people will be the ones who come around with sex on their mind, with the intention of using that same thing, sex, to destroy you. You see, you got to watch out for the so-called pretty or beautiful girls. Because what I saw in Malachi's letter to one of his sons, He said, be careful with these women. I was 16 when I read it. They'll love you, then lie on you. He wasn't talking to me. He was talking to his son about what all of this came from. So this is what I want to talk about. Right? The women will come around and they'll engage. But once they engage in any type of sexual activity with you, make them mad. Make them mad. Do something they don't agree with. Let them feel slighted or disdained or scorned. They're going to use that very act that you thought was this act, They'll use that very act to destroy you and everything. Or try, because sometimes they can't destroy certain beings. They'll try and then it'll backfire, because it's written for that to happen. But they'll still do it. They'll still try. Why? Because this is what people have to pay attention to and bear witness to. If I'm not in the situation, it can't be pinned on me. Unless it's pinned on me and I'm not in the situation. Does that make sense? I'm going to say it one more time. If I'm not in the situation, it can't be pinned on me. Unless I'm in the situation. Or unless I'm not in the situation and they pin it on me. Then it's going to be like, I wasn't even there. Then you got to resort to alibi, da-da-da-da. But if you're in a situation and something takes place and then someone attempts to use that, for a lot of brothers who done went through that, some of y'all ain't big. Some of y'all ain't leaders and famous people. So just because you see a famous person get accused of something that they didn't do, that don't mean that niggas in the community ain't been put through the same thing. I know people who done been accused of doing something they didn't do. And they trying to fight tooth and nail for the community to understand it. Not even that they're dealing with charges, because a lot of times just because somebody press charges, that don't mean that these folks going to try to convict, especially if they feel like they're going to release, waste resources and all that stuff, or that there's not enough evidence for a conviction and all that stuff. They drop a lot of them cases. But men get accused of doing stuff they didn't do all the time. But that don't mean every time a man is accused of something that he didn't do it. That don't mean that. Right? So, it's so interesting too, because some people try to speak on certain things based off of stuff that they've seen me do. Right? Like, they'll see that I did a live with Rashad Jamal's baby's mother, and then they're talking about those details as if they ever took the time to talk to Rashad Jamal's baby mother. You see what I'm saying? To let that side be explained also. So they really didn't know none of that until that door was open, because before then, everything was just about the blindness of the government set him up. Now y'all are saying that the baby mother was upset. Well, the baby mother's not the government. So here's what you need to understand, if you're able to understand the degree. For men, when you travel through here, what I observed is we really do have to be cautious of how we deal with women. Omari, what are you saying? I'm telling you the truth. Here's the truth beyond that. I don't really understand all of it. Maybe it got something to do with my aunt. Let me tell you this. When they say hell have no fury, like a woman scorned, they really should have told niggas, because niggas don't do nothing but like, we take that, you know what I mean? Niggas hear that and run with it. Be like, yeah, hell have no fury like a woman scorned. They should have said, never scorn a woman. Some people just said, So I'm going to say it again. The saying they gave us was, hell have no fury like a woman scorned. That ain't teach niggas shit. They should have told us, never scorn a woman. Then we'd be like, wait a minute, tell me more. If you scorn a woman, you have to know what scorn would mean. You have to know how they feel when they feel like they can't punch you. You see? You don't know what that is because you a man. And you feel like if you get in a fight with most women, you'll beat them up. That's your mentality naturally. That's why you got some men who become abusers because of that, and some men who ultimately become protectors because of that, using that frame to protect women. Some use the frame to not protect women. They take advantage. Okay, you don't know what it means to be birthed into a world where the world is telling you that this group of beings, which is basically like a whole nother race, they call it a gender, called men, are aggressive creatures that think about sex 24/7. And they're in a patriarchy world where men are revered, the forefathers, founding fathers, you know, God is a he, his son, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. The hidden psychology or the subconscious operations of the woman is, I am inherently the victim. And she has to work through that daily. So if you chump her out, all the emotions that she's dealing with, she can't swing on you. Some try, and they've learned over time that men are stronger. Sometimes, well, most of the time. Because you got some women who are trained or some women who just will knock you out because they naturally warriors. Some niggas naturally can't fight, period. That's why they go for women, because they feel like there's an easier target and wind up getting fucked up sometimes. That's the truth. Right? Okay. So she can't punch you. She can't fight you. Sometimes she'll go get her brother. That culture has faded away. Going to get the brother has faded away. Because the brothers is outside doing all kind of shit. Ain't no brothers that you can call really like that no more. Some of y'all still got brothers you can call. If you still got brothers you can call, you might realize you don't even need to call brothers no more because you come from a different way of life. Y'all ain't even in no bullshit these days. Right? The ones who call their brother these days is like it's going to either be the brother ain't coming or somebody dying. It's just that simple. It ain't too much in between. I'm going to get my brother and y'all going to fight. Right? Okay. But they don't feel like they can punch you. They don't feel like they can hit you. But you want to know what they feel like they can do? They feel like they can build a case and go to the police. That's how they can get you. Because why? This is what you're not going to understand. This is why they should have said never scorn a woman. A woman can have a feeling for the rest of her natural born life. You know how you get mad and you be good the next second, the next moment? You know how you get upset about some shit a nigga did? Y'all might punch it out. Y'all might go off on the internet, whatever. You might not talk to the nigga for a few days, but then y'all back to it. You ain't pin no case on him. You ain't get his land took. You see what I'm saying? You ain't do none of that. You ain't try to send all the images and everything from your past to the girl, you know what I'm saying, that you're dealing with right now, all the other stuff. You ain't did none of that. You just like, man, I don't fuck with this nigga. You might talk shit on the block, but you're not mad for life. Here's what they didn't tell us about what scorned mean. Scorned mean that this is her only way to fight. So hell don't even have no fury like that. We called hell. We asked. We said, yo, y'all got some fury? Like when a woman is scorned, they hung up. They don't even want to get their attorneys involved with discussing about that. I said to Tess, why you hang up? Like, remember, you don't know me. Don't be calling my phone with that bullshit, blowing up my spot. Shaitan don't even want to talk about it. Shaitan hear about that and get spooked. He said, nigga, we don't even have that type of fury down here. When women go to hell, they fury can't go. When a woman go to hell, the fury go to heaven because there's nowhere else. The fury ascends and transforms into like life outside of the planet or something. New planets are formed from the fury that women have. You didn't know that? Ain't nobody can tell you that except me. Right? So listen to what I'm telling you because this is my art. It's like you really don't know until you know. You really don't know until you're like, man, you know what? Maybe if I ain't go off on her, maybe if I ain't say, you a motherfucking lie, you know you lie, da-da-da-da-da, woo-da-woo, go on, get the fuck on, bam, boom. Maybe the brow wouldn't have deepened so much because you don't hear it. They hear sirens, droning, and imagine how I just took a breath when I said, you know, you said I took a breath? They never take a breath. And you be like, wait a minute, nah, I just seen Shawty on the other side, da-da-da-da, doing this. She was outside cooking. She woo-da-woo-da-woo. She having a good time with her family. Da-da. Nigga, she's still furious. Nah, I just seen Shawty enjoying Christmas. Da-da-da-da. She was posted up with pajamas with that. Nigga, she's still furious. No, Shawty just passed through. I saw her in the Wendy's line. She was getting this and da-da-da. I waved at her. She was cool. Nigga, she's still furious. You say, how can they do that? Because they chose to. Can you just choose an emotion right now? No. We don't fucking know what women are, bro. It's like they're the moving ma'at. I don't even know who their ma'at is. It's like they're exempt. Women are the moving ma'at. And only thing I can say is like this. If something ever hit the fan like that with me, here's what I can say. I gotta respect ma'at. Because the courts could never convict me. The judge could never convict me. I could get a life sentence. I can't be convicted that way. I can never be found guilty in the court. I can never be found guilty in the court of public opinion. Right? I'm not guilty if I didn't do a thing. Even though that's not the only way you can be guilty. Because you could do a thing and not be guilty too. But I'm not guilty if I didn't do something. If somebody says I did a thing, I'm not guilty. Then okay, nothing. However, if I didn't overstand, right? Listen to what I'm telling you. That when you anger this being, right, or these types of beings, which are women, there really are no rules. They don't care no more. If I didn't understand it, which I do understand it, which is why I survived this long. If I didn't understand, then whatever come with it will come with it. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Okay. So in the event that it moved to that degree, I would have to say, well, I take accountability for the fact that this being felt this way. The courts ain't gonna understand that. The people probably wouldn't understand it. But you want to know who would? Ma'at. And that gets you exonerated, no matter what they say. So when this Rashad Jamal situation, all that stuff, listen, I don't know whether or not he's guilty. Okay? Now, if he isn't guilty, the way that he gonna exonerate himself is he gonna have to apologize to Shells. That's the only exoneration, because you'll be chasing freedom. And the freedom will not exonerate you. You see? His only exoneration gonna come from apologizing to Shells, even if he innocent of what he was charged with. You get what I'm saying? He would have to tell Shells, listen, I love you. I did this, I did that. Sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? I should have thought about how you felt. Nigga say, nigga, this shit bleed into the this bleed into the judicial system. We gotta apologize. Yeah, nigga. You didn't know? Shit, a lot of this ain't taught. But these are degrees that I don't even know if they are being taught. Maybe it's one of my jobs to teach it so people can understand it for the future. But like, nigga, even when it ain't initially your fault, you have to understand the balance of things. You got to know that so that, you know, okay, where was it at? Matthew, the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 25, because that came up last year. So let's read it. Let me see if that's what it is. Matthew 5:25. It says, this is just beautiful, right? Matthew 5:25 says, settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. This is in the Bible. Nobody highlighted that for niggas to tell them, listen, when you're dealing with stuff like that, you know why a lot of women will settle out of court? Right? Meaning like they'll go and say, you be confused, like, wait a minute, she said he did this to her. Why is she asking for money? Shouldn't he be in jail? How he able to pay if he assaulted her? What does that mean? Because it's a civil case, right? Okay, it means, nigga, you gonna pay. And she meant that. She told him that. Nigga, you gonna pay for what? For how you made me feel. That's what you gonna pay for how you made me feel, and you ain't gonna be able to prove you didn't do this. So I'll see you in court. Didn't Tupac go through that? A lot of people went through that, where a woman felt a certain way, and that was all that he was in prison for it, because of how she felt. You see? So, point being, if the reason why they say it in this book of Matthews, right, or book of Matthew, is because the prosecution can overturn a conviction, right? The prosecutor can go back. They can lift certain things. You understand what I'm saying, how the judicial processes work. The victim can't do it. The victim can only press charges prior to the trial. Drop charges. They can only drop the charges prior to the trial, and even still, the district attorney is the one who has the end in saying that, and the prosecutor is the one who has the end in saying that. And if it's a big case where it's out in the public, if they think it's in public interest to continue with the conviction, they'll do that. If they don't, and they see it's too much attention swaying in the direction of your favor, then they're going to drop the case. You get what I'm saying? So we weren't taught this stuff. So while Rashad Jamal was doing what he was dealing with, you want to know what was taking place? He was still on the lives bashing shells. Right? Because who gonna teach the science? Who gonna tell them, listen, that ain't gonna make it, none of this gonna help. Because you'll be so worried about whether or not the public is gonna view you as innocent or guilty. But they don't convict you. And they can't exonerate you. One more time. No, two more times I hear that. The public cannot convict you, and they can't exonerate you. The public cannot convict you, and they can't exonerate you. The judge is not the judge. It's all make-believe. They can't convict you, they can't sentence you, and they can't exonerate you. You'll only know this when it's your time. Meaning to pass over the threshold. This don't apply to men only. Right? The judge is not the judge. They're not the honorable. You only say that because you playing a game. They're not honorable. Ain't nothing honorable about somebody that's telling you to swear on a Bible that says you should not judge. As a judge. Sitting there with the Zeus apparel with the negative effect on it. With the gavel, it's supposed to be the lightning bolt. Bow, bow, bow. Acting like they understand what them scales is about. You see the judge, how I see the judge, all I see is a whole background full of demons behind the judge. That's all I see. What all about? That's all that. All I see is a whole background full of demons behind the judge. And they standing there to me, I hereby, you don't do shit. That's why Tupac was like, nigga, it's in God's hands. He knew why. He knew what he was going through and why he was going through it. And he wouldn't even bash the woman. He was like, yo, I could say her name and a bunch of people, da-da-da-da-da. He said, but I ain't going to do none of that. He knew why he was going through what he was going through. Once you have an understanding, you understand, like, okay, so then you have to be humble enough to ask, what do I need to do for real? And only a few voices can tell you that. One of them is your own, but you got used to ignoring them so long because of the lust. Right? Niggas going to have to remove that and say, all right, okay, what did I do? Okay, remember you did this, maybe you said this, maybe you did it that way? Remember when somebody said something and you listened to their advice about it? Okay, and you operated within their judgment? Remember this, remember that? Okay, that's how this got here. That's okay, I have to understand that. That's what someone who was wise would be dealing with. No matter where you are, you have to see it like that. But if you get into the dark chamber and you're lashing out from inside the dark chamber, your fate is bubbling up. Rashad Jamal is in trouble. Your fate is bubbling up. Your guts, how they tell me this? Your guts are about to spill out. I'm not saying physically. Like, you're vomiting. And that may be genetically programmed in you so that you could get a little lighter, so that maybe that can be a trigger in you to be like, stop. Stop. You don't know what this is. You're not paying attention. This is your life code, and this is what it's trying to teach you. I thought we understood, though. I thought niggas said they wanted to be ascended masters and all of that. So why I'm the only one able to see stuff when it happened and see what it mean and what it is? It's like somebody just sent me a screenshot of somebody posted something. Somebody came and checked on me. Talk came and checked on me. Say, yo, you seen this? Da-da-da-da. I'm like, no, I ain't seen that. And I read, I'm like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. But I didn't know they were going to go through this person. I thought they were going to go through this person. They already showed me that. That's already in my vision. You got to keep in mind, I'll be the one that'll tell you before something happens. I'll be like, look, I'm about to go into isolation for 9 days. But when I come out, everybody ain't going to be still walking. And then I come out and you realize, phone call say, y'all should want to come out for your own soul and confess and say that y'all did this, or it was y'all who did that, or, you know, Malachi never did these things. He said, for your own soul. He said, but you know what? I love y'all anyway. I heard that. I said, I think, like, even then, I'm like, I couldn't have been able to do that. But then I got older, 2, 3, 4 years later, and I experienced a little more of the degrees of this realm I'm in. I said, wait, Malachi understands what Ma'a is. That truth outlasts the lies, so sometimes the truth going to have to be hindered. The truth might go through vilification, being vilified. The truth might be in prison. The truth might be killed. They killed Tupac. He came back. You see? Meaning the soul of Tupac lives on. They know the soul lives on through Faise One. They know that. But that means, let's say I am Tupac reincarnated. I'm not saying I am because I don't care to say that. I'm saying, let's say I am. Let's say the reason why my voice, all that aligns, my music, all this stuff. Let's say I am Tupac reincarnated. That means I'm here to get something right. Right? I'm here to rectify something. And before Tupac passed away, my dad met him. Pay attention. And he said he was supposed to give him a book called Who is God? One of the small books. Right? Just about the size fit in your pocket. He said he was supposed to give him that book and never gave him the book. Right? He said Tupac's eyes was like, help me. And he didn't help him. He didn't give him the book. He said to this day, he don't understand. He told me this in 2021. He said to this day, he don't understand why he didn't give him the book. Tupac lived out in Atlanta and in Decatur, same places I live in Atlanta and Decatur, my whole life. So Tupac lived in Atlanta and Decatur before he left. And, you know, he was standing out there talking to the NOI, all of that. He was looking for right knowledge. He was looking for the truth. And he was saying some of the same things Pops was saying, Malachi was saying. And Malachi covered what Tupac's role is in his books. So Malachi said he don't like rap music, but he still supports the rappers because they're here to make war with the beast before the shams come through. They're there as soldiers on the grounds. I never read that until one of the brothers, like I told y'all a few times, pointed it out to me and said, look at what it say. On page 135, I said, wow, I never knew that. And Tupac was in a black suit with a white tie. And he said his job wasn't done. His mission was cut short. Okay, well, here's what I know. He said the shams were supposed to be coming through by around 2030. And they'll be coming different times before then. Right? Different vortexes where things were open. So ain't nobody got time to be born now. Listen, so you can hear what I'm saying. Ain't no time for no new children to be born and somebody possibly be Pac. Ain't no time for nobody to come back and possibly be Tupac and then care about the people for real. And then still be on that Killuminati shit. Still be on that fuck Baphomet shit. Still be on that fuck the industry shit. All of y'all can suck a dick. I don't care about none of that. I'm not bending over. Fuck that. Woo da woo da woo. Da 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 da. Still be on that and it's not a facade. Ain't no time for nobody to be born. And then we looking at some 4-year-old like, is that gonna be Tupac? Yeah, everybody got time. We already in that day where the hour is up. So you know who would be the return spirit Tupac or the return soul of Tupac. You know who that is because you got eyes to see and a spirit to feel. But he not wearing no dermal. He not rocking no bandana. I'm not West Side, all that. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not trying to put thug-like tattoos on me. I'm not trying to dance in a music video like NLE Chopper. I'm not doing none of that extra shit, nigga. I'm just being real. I get on here, I know people expecting me to tear her apart. I'm like, shit, nigga. Based on what she said on her story, it seemed like she was talking about her individual experience with her family there. I cannot say she lying. About the other stuff, when it comes to the doctrine, I can say that's cap, but maybe it was misrepresented to her. Because she said the teachers was interesting. So maybe she had the wrong people teaching her. Because still a lot of niggas got the doctrine now and don't know nothing about what they talking about, and them the wrong niggas to teach it. Because you don't have wisdom. You just got memory. Your broker's area is lit the fuck up. You can just remember the fuck out of shit. But then, even with that, you don't know how to relay the messages and teach it with wisdom without just repeating what it say. Because then you're going to repeat what it say, then I ask you a question. Say, okay, what does it mean, though? What's the meaning of that? Don't just tell me what he said. That's not us. You take this and then you're supposed to wrap the degrees around each iota, each degree. You wrap degrees around it. So I can't be mad at her. Fucking be mad at her about shit. She might have came from a fucked up family, like she said. Well, she ain't said it like that. She might have came from niggas that did fucked up shit. Ain't had nothing to do with us. So that's her experience. And however she ended up, that's on her. You hear what I'm saying? So I can see where a lot of people want me to be upset, but that ain't me. I'm just going to be real. I'm like, look, here go the situation. Rashad Jamal wife told me she was going live. I waited, but I wasn't going to wait too damn long. I sat over there and waited for like 16 minutes. Right? And kept refreshing. I'm like, man, I'm not going to go back live. Because my goal was to go in there and talk to her and move on. If she was going to be able to see it, right? We get on there, we talk. If she was going to be able to do it, we get on there, we talk. And my main goal is, get Rashad on the phone. People are watching this and they don't know what it is. This is a beautiful day and time. Some people call it the day of reckoning, the day of time, whatever you want to call it. The day of standing. I say the day of scanning is what we're going through. That's what it revealed to me. I won't even say they revealed. That was the idea that I got when I was about to do one of my recent teachings, that it's the day of scanning. Everybody is being scanned. So you have to know why. Like, I know why someone is slandering me. I know why, because they felt slighted. And they said that. So when you see stuff like that, if you see stuff like that, for those of y'all be sending me stuff, I know why they saying stuff like that. Because once you feel slighted, it don't matter. What the thing is, though, here's what you have to understand about me. If anything against me ever go big, we're going to be on the front line with it. So you have to understand, I have messages of someone saying, yo, listen, if you ain't going to fight for our relationship, not talking to me, they talking to somebody. If you ain't going to fight for our relationship, right, then you ain't going to like what come with it. You get what I'm saying? That type of stuff is motive. What you mean fight for a relationship? Because you think I'm saying something about breaking your relationship up. I ain't said nothing about that. I said, if something ain't supported in what we're doing, if you get what I'm saying, then it's just not supported in what we're doing. So you don't know, I'll say what I say for a reason. I'll say, yo, hey, don't ever delete the messages. Don't ever delete the messages. Because when we speaking and having conversations, I'm paying attention. So I'll say, yo, you know that's right there, right? That's that, right? Yo, don't ever delete the messages, because they got motive right there. That if they want to do something, they want to bring something against you, myself, anybody, they can come around with that motive. You see that? You got to know who around you at whatever point in time. So without going too much into it, I'm not mad at anybody. The stuff that y'all done said, people done came around, they break away, say, Faise don't respect women. He don't want women to lead nothing. But them same people observed that the women were leading everything. And I put women in position. How many people bear witness? Those who've been around. Because all this going to mean something eventually. You don't know what none of this means. You better know what it means, though. Because if you don't know the story, you ain't going to know what to do when all this stuff comes back. Right? How many people were around to witness? I put women over everything. Whether it was the organization of the events, the chats, the telegrams, the goddess chat, whatever they was calling the goddess chat, the lighthouse was a woman over that, the language. I didn't teach the language, even though I could have. Or I could have put a brother in position to teach the language. I didn't do that. I said I want to make sure the women are teaching it, because those are the ones or the udder of the woman to receive the word, the nutrients. Let the women teach the language. Let them tap us into that other side of that. I put women in position to do everything. I did. But then I started realizing that the women wouldn't get their shit together. That's the only reason why you saw me step in as the one having to make stuff happen, because the women weren't getting their stuff together. It was too many distractions, too many problems, too much envy over here, hatred over here. They arguing over this, da-da-da-da. They blocking each other out of rooms, kicking each other out of rooms. I'm like, man, look at this shit. Look at this. So y'all upset with them. Now, me, I didn't tell them, they removed me, they kicked me out. I didn't kick you out. I didn't have nothing to do with that. Faise is a snake. He kept me out of the room, da-da-da-da. Somebody else put you out the room because they had certain things lined up saying you got to do this, this, and that. When you show up, they want to make sure people participating. If they have a conversation, they tell people to check in. And you ain't checking in, you ain't been around, they just remove you from the group. That don't have nothing to do with me. Why I got to be slandered? Why I got to be a snake because of all of that? You see what I'm saying? What is all of that? Looking out for people. It's somebody I looked out for. Because I could tell it, because it's a part of the story. They snuck off when they got pregnant by somebody that wasn't their mate. We were talking on the phone with the mate and them. And I said, listen, I'm going to talk directly to you. Only you're going to know what I'm talking about. I said, be cautious when people come from left field and take advantage of you being vulnerable and emotional because you're going through something with your folks or with your mate. I said, be cautious of that because you be thinking they care when all they doing is taking advantage of your vulnerability. I said, you're going to have to come back home. Meaning, if you saying you're going to make this right, you got to stop what you're about to do. Sin is at your door. Don't do what you're about to do, because when you do that, ain't no coming back from that. Right? And she was quiet. I said, do you hear what I'm saying? She said, I hear you. She knew what I was saying. But what did she do? She still went. She still slept with the dude. The dude was some Polynesian dude. Nobody don't know who, or some off-brand being. Right? And because she received word that she was pregnant or with child, she felt what? It's no coming back. And at that point, I wouldn't have told her to come back because she did what I advised her not to do. So then she was saying, I'm still with Nuwapu. I'm still walking. Da-da-da-da. I'll never stop. Woo-da-woo-da-woo. Just because I ain't around don't mean Nuwapu still don't this, that, and the third, right? Okay. We hear you. I told everybody, I said, people say that all the time, but they don't have the mentality to keep walking. You get out there in that world, it's going to eat you alive. That's what it's programmed to do. I don't have people coming to stay. Everybody that's walking, anybody living in my community. I don't have no community. I don't know where to get that from. I don't have no community. There are people who are walking saying they want to do stuff and get stuff done. Some people make it to certain levels for us to be able to do stuff. Some people don't. Right? Other than that, we know what the main focus is. It's been the main focus. Him coming out. So any community that we talking about is his community. I'm just leading people to it. Any doctrine that we talking about is his doctrine. I'm just leading people to it. Any information, way out, any of the stuff that we talking about, the way is his. I'm leading people to it. Right? Okay. What wound up happening? Just because somebody said something, just because somebody slandered. Now, oh, yeah, they evil. They running the cult. They doing this. They doing that. They doing blood magic. They doing all this stuff. I'm like, look at this stuff. Look at what they saying. Look at how they trying to put it and how they trying to push it. I'm like, I don't participate in none of that stuff, and neither does my wife. But look at what they'll say. You with me? So then, what happened? Why did you say you're gonna stick with Nuwapu, and then all of a sudden you flipped it, and now you're not? Well, then you went out there, and the video they posted, they had blonde hair. I said, look, you can't make it up. Look, they done went and made their blonde hair, their hair blonde. They pushing it and they kicking it, and they not on the wall. Somebody else departed. I'm like, look at this one departed. They have no reason to depart. You've been in my house. You've been around. You came around. You wanted to be around. So now you're departing because something is coming out about information. Somebody that was around said, we didn't do relationships like this. And you don't like that. So it don't have nothing to do with you. They're not even talking to you, and your relationship ain't being brought up. This particular relationship is being brought up because of the person, the public display of affection. That particular relationship is being brought up. Nobody said these people got to break up. Now, because you don't like that type of relationship is being challenged because it was never supported in the WAPU, even though this ain't mine. Now you're mad at me. And I ain't even say it. When it was said to me, I said, because when it was being brought up, the people involved, one of the people involved was like, okay, how do I cut this person off? I said, they weren't talking to me. They were talking to who was speaking. It's okay, how do I cut this person off? They were talking to one of the elders. I said, because they wouldn't even ask me, I just said it out loud. I said, that's going to be a problem. And everybody just looked at me. They're like, what do you mean by that? I said, you can't just cut them type of beings off. When you do that, they're going to feel slighted. And when they feel slighted, their last thing to do is they'll try to build something, slander, and try to disappear and start a new life. There's certain beings that you got to watch for, the ones who, they live everywhere. Every time they go somewhere, they do something, fuck it up, and then start a new life. Niggas know what I'm talking about. Right? Well, you always want to move because you done got in some circles and you done slept with X, Y, Z, start over at A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W. And now all of them know each other. And there's like, you talking to town, so now you leaving town to go somewhere else where don't nobody know you. And in your mind, that means I can start over as a person that nobody knows. And then you X, Y, Z, W, back to A, B, C, D, then you go, then it's like, oh shit, this whole friend group know me, da-da-da-da, whoop-de-whoop. I'm about to just leave. Now I'm going to Calabasas. You know what I'm saying? Calabasas, say, welcome to Calabasas. New person that we don't know nothing about your life. Oh, yes. And da-da-da-da, whoop-de-whoop, ABC. Now I'm going to Europe. The whole Europe find out. Now I'm going over here. I'm going to Africa. Africa find out, you just living life like that because they trying to remove who they were and what they did. People really try to convince themselves that they go somewhere else, that what they did don't follow them. You see that? So that's what people will do. They'll do something, then they'll move and take on a different identity. You understand? Lilith don't sit still. Jezebel don't sit still. She can't sit still. You know what I mean? Jezebel, you want to know what she respond to? Just a bell. She hear it, ding, and she go. Jesse, where you going? Jesse. Jezebel, that's all. It's just a bell. Ding. And then when it just clears that sound in, she gone. You know what I mean? Back to 2022, when that situation happened, you know what I'm saying? With them herbalist niggas and, you know, the rest of them niggas that was trying to be content creators, trying to be their dad and stuff. Remember that whole situation? They put Beyond 5D on the, they put him on the list. He finally got on the list of some shit where they saying he a snake or agent. Well, he is. That's why I'm not really mad at the list. I can't even get upset. I'm like, the list is true. For like 70% of the list is true. You see what I'm saying? Meaning like, not saying they came from the government because I don't think they're smart enough. I'm saying they were planted somewhere by somebody. Because where the fuck do people come from, they don't contribute nothing. But waste time and talk about shit they don't even understand. That's why I say Beyond 5D. Because what the fuck is 5D? They don't even know what that means. It's like, nigga, you just said shit. Beyond 5D, who I met, and y'all remember because I document everything. Do we got to go back? Because you know I open it up and we'll go right back. Because how you Asian? Man, please. He don't got to be an agent to you. Listen to him. Fuck with him. Rock with him. He don't got to be no agent to you. If I say he an agent, you don't even got to believe me. I'm telling you, this nigga ain't supposed to be nowhere near nothing moving. Because he had just interviewed LifeWave and Rashad Jamal. Let's play. He had just interviewed them. And then he DM'd me and was like, yo, I see you as one of the spiritual people, da-da-da-da. You know, I want to make sure that we, you know, open up this and da-da-da-da. And I'll come down there and interview you. Right? I said, okay, that's what's up. He came down. Long story short, because if I don't, it's going to turn into a whole nother thing. And you know, certain things open up shit. Right? Okay. Long story short, Nick came down and met some female named Nikki. Go figure. She even spelled it similar. So Nikki, like Nikki Lopez. Go figure. The girl name was Nikki L. Like Nikki Lopez. I don't even know what her last name means. That's just the universe laughing at me. Like, nigga, do you see that? I'm like, yeah, I see that. They laughing with me. Nikki L as in Nikki Lopez. I ain't even see it till the shit blew up. Light-skinned girl. That don't mean that it's always them. It's just a lot of times. Don't get offended, light-skinned women. We love you. I'm just saying a lot of times it's y'all. I don't know why, but that's just what it is. It's rare that it's not y'all. You know what I mean? You just look, it's a dark-skinned man, right, who trying to do something. Next thing you know, you turn around. What happened? Somebody says something. And you go find who did it or who said it. Light-skinned woman. It's like, I don't know what this read is. That don't mean everybody innocent. I'm just saying that's the light-skinned women. So, Nikki had everybody nose wide open, including Beyond 5D. So long story short, I don't even want to go through all that. Long story short, 5D was getting tender about her because we was already doing business, and he saw the proximity, and he wanted to fuck with her. And because he wanted to fuck with her, he over the course of the 3 days that he was in town, he developed new animosity for myself. We never did an interview. We never did none of that, just based off of the fact that there was proximity, even though I didn't have no intentions of getting with the girl. You see? So that's how, yeah. All right. And then he wound up lying. That's another thing that came out through Dr. York's son. He wound up lying and saying that I went around saying I was sleeping with her. She told Dr. York's son that because Dr. York's son was around. When she told him that, it took 2 years for me to get a confession out of him. Because they thought I was just going to drop it. By 2024, I got a confession out of him. I put it up there. You go look at my Faise One Live, type in Faise One Live, and then put the word confession. You should be able to find it. And listen to that whole thing. That everybody was saying I was upset about a female, all this other stuff, and they were slandering me, and nobody cared. And they were doing it because they saw my platform wasn't that big, so I really couldn't defend myself. But then I was like, watch. I'm going to get payback. And my platform grew over the next 2 years, so I blew up again. I blew it up again. And they couldn't fight me. I'm like, yeah, it ain't no fun now, huh? Because my shit bigger than yours. And we going to go through it. We're going to deal with it fact by fact, piece by piece, woo-doo-woo-doo. So I never let that go. And I kept going until we got that clear. I said, see, that's what I'm telling you. So Beyond 5D was pillow talking. These niggas ain't Beyond 5D. He ain't went nowhere. He was pillow talking because he thought that the girl had interest in me and that I had interest in the girl. And told her that I was telling people I had sex with her. When, if I did, which I didn't, if I did have sex with her, I've never been the type of being to tell nobody that. Like, look, imagine me chilling, right, with my boys. Like, think about what I'm saying. Imagine me chilling with the boys, kicking it with the homies. Saying, yeah, man, I'm smashing her. Yeah, man, I don't know you from a can of paint, but I just want to tell you that I'm having sex with this girl over here. Imagine me being that. That's niggas, but I'm not that. I know niggas who do that. But you have to, like, think about it. What the fuck? Because if it were the case, why would I say it's not the case? Because you done bat the female, who, especially some people saying that's a bad female. If niggas supposed to be getting props off of it, he gonna double down. Say, hell yeah, I did sleep with a man, she lying, but I ain't because if I'm gonna say some shit. Why would I be saying, nigga, we never slept with each other, so why the fuck would I tell you that? What would be the point of me saying to you, and I don't even know you, and when did we talk? Because you were sulking the whole time. For them whole 3 days. When we played games and shit, and mental games and building, because of where I was sitting at, if I'm sitting next to her, he go sit on the other side of the room. He just met this girl, y'all. It was a 3-day span. Because we celebrate Pop's birthday from June 24th, June 25th, June 26th. You would have thought that I was trying to take his wife. All I did was sit there. And what I'll do, I'll get up, I'll go to the restroom, come back. Nigga sitting in my seat. Did I make a scene? No. Because it's already weird. I don't want to make it weirder. I'll just go sit somewhere else or go teach somewhere else or go do something else. I'm like, that's weird. Because now you ain't even saying nothing about the interview. You have yet to bring it up. But that was the whole purpose of you coming down. Or not purpose of you. That was the purpose of this meeting. That you were going to do an interview. That was the first encounter. You see? So, yeah, that's an agent. But what I mean by agent is that motherfucker was sent into the community by observing other people that was doing certain shit, teaching certain shit, certain podcasts and shit, and said, ooh, it seems fine to me also, so let me do it. And he went and did it. And then started interviewing people. What did he contribute? What did Beyond 5D contribute? How is he in the conversation? So that nigga's an agent, and he was around the Nuwabians. The Nuwabians is not the conscious community. Can we get that clear? The Sabians is not the conscious community. That's two different things. So what the fuck he was around the Sabians for? What he was around the Nuwabians for? He ain't no Nuwabian. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never claimed to be no Nuwabian or no Sabian. From what I was seeing, he was just around. And as you know, he over there with Isis Wisdom and them, over there with these people, over there with, he all over the place. Venus, whoever the girl was, he was all over the place. So my point is, I done seen it all. Was probably talk to him. That's what I've been doing. My boy tired. I've been talking to him. But my thing is, y'all want me to be upset. I'm not upset. I can't be. I don't have time. It's over. I didn't realize she had vampire teeth and red eyes. You haven't read the books if you think it's a cult. Yeah, man. Man, it's over. It's over. It's over. I know it. And I'm like, ooh. Because I see, look, they keep having to come out with documentaries. They keep got a podcast. He about to come out. It's over. It's over. Because when he come out, even what he said, the games is over. And somebody commented like, you're a victim. You're a victim. I'm like, a victim of what? Just saying shit. Not that you matter, because it's really my fault for making people think they exist by answering them. But it's like, a victim of what then? Explain it. People get used to saying things on the internet and not being checked. Like, I just saw Isis Wisdom talking about the Rashad Jamal situation. So, I'm going to just tell y'all like this. I'm going to tell you like this and keep it pushing. I don't know what Isis Wisdom got going on. She acting like she channeling Rashad Jamal. She like, something done happened to him. They done got to him. He's been changed. He been in jail. Yeah, he's been changed. But Rashad wants to ask you that you talk to him? What do you mean Rashad want to talk? Oh, I channel him. I channel Rashad. Man, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? People ain't able to make this shit make sense. We probably be able to get on the phone and be like, Rashad, is Isis Wisdom channeling you? So he'd be like, hell no. Niggas supposed to have to make this shit make sense, but everybody get used to being able to just say stuff. Because she got a beef with the wife. And I think she got a beef with the wife. It might be a little jealousy just because of the women do stuff like that sometimes. That's just the truth. No matter how old they are. They just do little shit. That ain't Rashad. That's you. We know Rashad ain't posting it, but he approves of what the fuck is being posted. I just saw this though. I ain't even read it. I ain't even watch it yet. So I'm gonna go to this phone call that she pulled up with Rashad talking, and let's see how many truths or lies Rashad tell. Y'all ready? Who want to play? Cause I just saw this. I don't even know what he about to say. So that you can tell, it's right here. You see, it's at 0 minutes 0 seconds. I just saw this. I let it be right there, right? So then we gonna see what he say. It's 14 minutes 30 seconds. The first lie he tell, we gonna check it. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth lie he tell, we gonna check it. But if you tell the truth, I'm gonna let it play. Or if he says something personal I don't know nothing about, I'll let it play. But every time he lie, we gonna pause it. Make sense? All right. Not playing. Focus.
Through 9, right? And I'm speaking from a place of true enlightenment. Because as the body, the people, y'all clout. If you want to talk about the clout in the spiritual community, I ain't never did nothing for no clout. Everybody came behind me doing it for clout. I did this because this is what I was put here to do. When I first started teaching, this shit wasn't trending. Let's not forget who made it trend.
Okay, that's a lie. You didn't make nothing trend. You, Young Pharaoh, Nature Boy, the rest of y'all niggas was doing it around the same time. And you and Nature Boy looked at Young Pharaoh's following and formula for how to do things on the internet. How to talk about shit like non-ether, all that on the internet. And you watch people like Young Elder. You know what I'm saying? You didn't start no trend. Because what's trending? You didn't even start the TikTok trend because a lot of your followers just ended up on TikTok. They can't stand on live and give no teaching or lecture. They can't do it. So what trend did you start other than niggas talking about shit they don't understand about? That's a lie.
I made a trend and then everybody else came behind.
That's a lie. I would say Young Pharaoh made the shit trend before you did. Young Pharaoh would be the one who made the shit trend before you did. If I was going to say anybody made the shit y'all niggas was doing. Because I don't even do what these niggas doing. The shit y'all was on, man, them niggas like Young Pharaoh and Nature Boy was popping that shit off. Mainly Young Pharaoh, then Nature Boy, then you came. You know what I'm saying? And you came beefing with a lot of niggas. How a lot of niggas found out who you was. This ain't my video. Let's get this clear. Cause the nigga asked that. This is Rashad Jamal's wife. You know what I'm saying? This her live. She called that nigga that. That's not, let's get that clear. All right.
Trying to ride the wave to monetize it because it was trending to them.
So, okay, he be talking to certain people. Certain people may have tried to monetize it, but you didn't start no wave. That shit came after YP. And them niggas like Prince York and them. Let's be for real. You weren't in that conversation.
But when I was doing it and Young Pharaoh was doing it and those before us, we did it out of pure
See, you just mentioned Young Pharaoh. So that's a contradiction. Either you did it or Young Pharaoh did it. When I was doing it and Young Pharaoh was doing it and people came before us, people came before y'all, you automatically, it's been 32 seconds. And if you have a brain, this nigga ain't making sense. Who came before you then? If you made it trend, who came before you? If you made it trend, why mention Young Pharaoh who actually was making it trend? You see what I'm saying? Let's play. Let's play.
Pureness of our heart, right?
He said he did it out of the pureness of his heart. That's not true. You monetized it too, by the way. All y'all niggas was monetizing. Everybody did the money thing. That's why I said, listen, separate the business from what we doing. I make money. People's like, you mad niggas making money? I'm like, I sell books. I do this. I do that. Why would I be mad at niggas making money? I'm just saying, stop trying to act like the money and what this is about has something to do with one another. Those are two different worlds. You making your money. A lot of niggas just want to thrive. That's all they want to do. They want to get themselves some cars, nice house, all this other stuff. They don't care nothing about what's really happening. Let's play.
It don't get no realer than that.
It get a lot realer. It get realer than Rashad Jamal. The one who holding his phone right now is realer. And he don't have no problem telling you that.
All I'm saying is, the reason y'all haven't got the disinformation agents lecture yet is not on my team end. It's because my team need to be on this telephone to do certain things. And the moment we put it out there in my story that we was releasing this lecture, those individuals who I told y'all is government agents, they called down to the prison and had my cell raided.
Who? Who? So, guess what he just did? He said, this is what I'm telling you, you gotta really listen. The people on the list called down to the prison and got the cell raided. Right? Okay. Who? Arcade's called down to the cell, the prison to get the cell raided? I called to get the cell raided? Big Dale called to get the cell raided? Isis Wisdom? Beyond 5? Oh, he went on it. Oh, yeah, he was on the list, but he went on the 19 key. Who the fuck called down? How about this? You posted it on social media where the feds live at. You didn't know that? So you announcing some shit like you finna do some big shit, and they were like, let's make sure the nigga don't got no phone because that don't look good. Every time niggas posting from jail, that look bad on the prison. Let's make sure the nigga ain't got no phone to be on social media saying all this shit. Nigga, that's regular federals. They watch socials, especially when you on a watch list. So now B. Dale called with complaints and concerns. Who the fuck on the list called down to the... All right. Look what I'm saying. Do that make sense? He didn't say one of them on that. He said we. Like all of us on the list called down at one time. Look at what I'm saying. So you can know we ain't even a minute in. And we done kind of like 5 lives.
And the moment we put it out there in my story that we was releasing this lecture, those individuals...
Okay, so Ice's wisdom. You don't know what you're talking about. You heard what he just said? The moment we put it out there on my story that we was doing this lecture, we, meaning he is behind it also. It's not his wife. His wife ain't the one that did it. Remember everybody was trying to put up theories, say maybe he's hacked, maybe he this, maybe that. I'm like, man, that ain't gonna change that ain't gonna change shit because the shit's still the same thing. Same information. You see what I'm saying? Same thing being exposed, same thing being revealed. He was behind it. He just said he was behind it. When we, like in the Bible, and when we, or in the Quran, really, and when we formed the heavens.
Story that we was releasing this lecture, those individuals who I told y'all is government agents, they called down to the prison and had my cell raided.
Because a nigga say some shit with umph in his chest, don't make it true. So who, Rashad, are the individuals that called down to the prison to get the cell raided? Who? You just said those individuals. One more time so y'all can hear it. No, I ain't exaggerating. He didn't give you no name. He didn't do none of that. He just said those individuals.
Told y'all as government agents, they called